Good evening and welcome to Smart Entrepreneurship Decoded on Transcontinental Times. In this new year, we are starting on an absolutely fresh note. In the past year, we went into various aspects of entrepreneurship, met a lot of people, and tried to see things from an investor's perspective, an entrepreneur's perspective, a legal perspective, an accelerator incubator's perspective, etc. If you ask people like me who mentor and coach college students and young corporate executives, we will tell you that we hear some common refrains, and this may resonate with you in your own career and own life as well. A lot of the times, there are people in corporate offices who believe that their colleagues who get promoted ahead of them are ones who walk and talk smart rather than the ones who have the knowledge and do the work. I often tell them, if you are really more knowledgeable and work harder, isn't it easier for you to learn how to walk and talk smart versus that person to learn all the things you know and get all the skills you have? That's if it is true at all, right? If you take it a step backwards into the college and university system, you hear a common refrain from all analytic companies and so called gurus when they say 90% of Indian graduates are unemployable. Really? So, what are we going to do about it? And who is going to do something about it? And why are we saying the same thing for the last 2 decades? Why don't the numbers change? Who is going to make these people who have paid so much money and have spent years of their life at the peak of their youth only to get a degree that keeps them unemployable? What is it that will make them employable? What are those skills that are required? Why is it not getting built into the universities? Why are other people having to step in and do something about it? Tonight, I have a special guest who's not only a first generation entrepreneur who was born in a small town and made his way and cracked it into Mumbai. His entrepreneurship stint, etc., is in the traditional business of textiles. Food, clothing, shelter, education, health will never go out of fashion. I don't know why people get enamored and at least investors keep chasing things like a rainbow on high tech, leading tech, and land up with a bloody nose in the end and ignore the very things that keep them alive. But that's another topic. But this entrepreneur is also very passionate about making young people out of college employable, making whether they are job creators like entrepreneurs or job seekers. He believes he's got a formula or a particular framework which gives them the necessary skills to become employable in terms of developing their personalities, etc. Now, this is very key, especially for people who come from small towns, because they rightly or wrongly feel disadvantaged compared to people from the metros. Coming from a small town himself, our guest tonight, Atik Sheikh, who's the managing partner of Technotex, is here with us to explain what he is doing in this area. Welcome, Atik.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Nalin Singh, for a nice introduction about myself. And well, I would like to thank Transactional Times for giving me an opportunity to present myself. And I'll be very great to have um, myself introduced to the or such a big audience across the globe, and this will help me and myself and our team to grow as well. Thank you
So
very much, Mr. Nalin Singh.
tell me, Atik, what triggered this thought that you should follow something like developing young people's personalities and making them employable? Where did that thought come from, and what are you doing in that area?
See, when we consider as an India and Asian countries where we have a young population of around 30 to 40 years, and when we say college graduates, it starts at the age of around 23 and 24, 25. But these graduates peoples are mostly carry a good knowledge, but there is a missing link of a proper mindset, proper knowledge about the job they do wanted to carry. So we when I introduce myself, I am from a very small town in a Bhandara district. Then I traveled my journey from Nagpur to and completing my engineering from a renowned textile college institute in Ichalkaranji, landed a job in Mumbai, and then completing and undergoing a corporate career. So when I come across with the different phases of life and come across with the different peoples, what we understand, there is some missing link for a tier 2 cities, and which who do not have a proper good academics and a little bit of a smartness to present themselves. We wanted to coach them or guide them, or we can say give them an inputs, so that they can feel themselves empowered with certain skills. So this complete 18 years of journey into the different domains given me an edge. I myself, along with our 10 like-minded peoples, our main partner in this personality matrix is Dr. Krishna Tripathi. He has defined a product and a formula which we tested in our previous organizations, where we were recruiting the college students from the different backgrounds. Then we were asking them to underwent a certain test and certain questionnaires, and based on that we were defining which are their area of interest, and based on these activities, giving them the task, they were enjoying the work they have been given with a proper coaching and mentoring. So what we thought, again, why can't we extend this for the colleges and entry level peoples, so that their learning curve may get shortened? So this area is triggered in our mind, and we collaborated ourselves with our team, and then this personality matrix LLP is born in the month of March 2021 as a complete a limited company with a proper setup. So this way we introduced ourselves to the world with self-funded activities.
So, uh, what is the duration of this personality matrix change program that you implement for students? How long does it take?
Yes, what we actually do in this case, it's a complete framework where if a candidate wanted to go with this complete, what I will say, a course or a module, it is a starting phase where we give a presentation to allow around 10 to 15 or whatever college allows us, and then we explain them the modules, why it is required, because considering current states, and as our Prime Minister Modi ji's statement, we need our youth to upskill, so that they are a better version for new India. So considering all these steps, what we do, we define a certain test, and the best part of this test is this: we do not encourage to carry the test online. This all test has been conducted in a offline mode. Approximately around 70 to 80 questions are there, and these are based on the behavioral pattern a candidate, how a candidate will react in certain situations. And based on the answers we get, we define a brain map or a kind of a liking of a candidate, and this liking is again given an edge to with the prop or experts. They define a map for that candidate. Now, another part I would like to tell about this, we also capture the emotions of a candidate while he is attempting the answers. Third part about is there a candidate has to write something about himself in around 10 lines, and this handwriting also is analyzed by our handwriting experts. All this took place around takes 3 hours to complete the activity. Post that, it takes a week's time for our experts to analyze what kind of a candidate he is, and based on his outcome, we introduce him what are his great strengths, what is his passion, how this passion will deliver into the what are the job markets available into the industry in different domains. So our aim is to introduce a candidate for the better strengths he has, and based on that guide him or mentor him for a future ready jobs. Now once this test is completed in a week's time, depends on a choice of a candidate whether he would like further to connect with us, where it takes around 6 months or a 12-hour session where we give them a proper framework, like he has to underwent a certain task, he has to give the presentation based on his domain area which comes out, and he has to read certain books and explain himself. So in this way, given 6 months timeline, he find himself in a better version what he was 6 months back, and this help him to be a better presenter for the interviews in a future job market. That is complete framework we carry out for the early level jobs and mid career candidates. And I mean that's
Okay.
what all wanted to say about this
So
point.
so this framework starts with a basic test which helps you understand what are the passions and skills the candidate has, hence what kind of jobs and roles they are best suited for. And then you have got upskilling programs that they can take to improve on certain skills and aspects of their personality, right?
Yeah, that's exactly we'll do.
So let's take that a step further. Uh, when we do this, and I'm asking a bit of a philosophical question, and
True.
feel
Yeah.
free to give me your opinion. Wh- What is wrong with people's God given self nurtured personality that we have to make them into corporate likable personalities? Is something wrong with the people or something wrong with the corporates? Who should be trained? The corporates, the people hiring, or we should be changing this mass of people?
That's a very good question, Mr. Nalin. And I mean, to be honest and to answer this, what we as people's 80% of our DNA is comes from the what we have been nurtured in the background we have been taught, and remaining as per Pareto analysis and our studies says around 20% things skills can be improved. Now coming back to the corporate world, every candidate or a student or mostly focuses on this 20% of the skills which a corporate wants him to do. It's like a it's difficult to say who will change, but it's a in between stage, we would say. Somebody now the corporates are also working on it, where a candidate's major interest comes out and they are finding it fit to that person into that role. And again, a student is also finding way out so that the skill upskilling gap can be bridged out. So my answer could be in between stage, where everybody will find a good way out so that their livelihood will get increased, and will corporate will also get benefited.
So your tool also helps people understand if they are fit for entrepreneurship.
Yes, exactly. It fits. It also tells about what are the good points, whether he could be a good entrepreneur. Because in our tools, we also explain about the financial journey for a candidate. If in our tool, if somebody, we ask them what they see down the line in future 15 years ahead, and what is the remuneration or financials they wanted to see themselves. And if an entrepreneur skill candidate comes, it bifurcates, and in our system it gets filtered. It itself get filtered that this candidate is a best fit for the entrepreneurship
So,
course. This is
being a person who has experienced most things firsthand, you came from a small town, you went to
true.
college, got yourself professionally skilled, joined a corporate, then started a business, and now you are also doing this upskilling business as a passion. Having experienced things firsthand, what are the two or three top skills that somebody coming out of college needs to be an entrepreneur?
First thing is, I mean, a proper planning, planning with if three skills you wanted to tell me for the proper entrepreneur, proper planning in first place. Second thing is a roadmap for his complete journey. And third things is, I we wanted to say where he wanted to end. I mean, what is your first vision? Vision board should be ready before starting anything for an entrepreneurship journey. If you wanted to do something for a 1 year, then it is not, we do not encourage it is a good entrepreneurship journey. Because most of the students we come across, we get an answer that, I mean, if in Hindi I would say मैं देख लूंगा आगे जो journey है. I mean, we do not encourage this. We encourage you must have a proper plan in place. Even though the plan will not have a results initial phase, he can put three dots over there. I will figure it out over the period of time and I will fill these dots. So this way, proper three step mechanisms we encourage for an entry level entrepreneurships.
So those are some of things that about planning, having a vision, having a roadmap, having a larger picture, and having patience to go through the journey. And those are all very important skills, without a doubt. But from a personality perspective, are there certain traits that an entrepreneur should have, or a to-be entrepreneur should have? I mean, how
Yes.
important are the skills that you give for corporate jobs? How important are they for entrepreneurs?
See, if an entrepreneur has a very must have a proper financial management techniques that we find is very important. Because landing into the losses and then giving a headway for all earlier efforts he does, it bit difficult for a candidate. So considering all this situation, what we foresee a major is a zeal, zest, and a proper, yeah, yes, I have to do something about an a passion for entrepreneurship is we encourage properly in a good way. In our personality matrix, it comes out in a channel, a high passion, high potential candidate. So this determines whether he is fit for a entry level entrepreneurship or he may be able to get it forward or all.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what.
So, no, those are very, very good points. But coming back to this nascent business that you started with your passion on a personality matrix and helping college students and school students get employable, develop the right skills, etc. Since most of it, what you described to me, is in person and not online, and you have
True.
experts evaluating things right from how their handwriting goes to, you probably have psychometricians drafting questions and all that. How
Yes.
does one scale such a business which is not technology enabled, or in the new fashioned sense, right? It's not online, so hence it's not scalable. How do you scale something like this?
See, it's now our business started. in the month of March 2021, and in a complete professional manner we started it. We have our visions are ready. What our, when it comes to the scalability, our visions are there in place. Initially, now we completed around 10 to 15 candidates for this complete year, and basically we are going for promotion kind of a thing, and going to the colleges and encourage them to ask students to go through this mechanism. In terms of scalability, we by 2022 we are expecting at least we coach 1,000 students based on our curriculum and strategies, or what we call say a module. Now in terms of scalability, we are looking, and down in the future we are entering into the franchisee mode, and we will inculcate transfer the franchisee module and train the trainer program. We will train people's different tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities. So our aim for this is maximize the participation from the colleges, especially engineering and MBA colleges that we are focusing. Then getting into the annual maintenance contract, kind of a start stuff from the engineering colleges. Now our current phase is for the final year students. Now down the line 2 to 3 years, we are looking forward to translate it from the entry level, like a college student who is from the class 12th and he wanted to upgrade himself from the 12th standard. We are encouraging that setup also, because considering this COVID period, the education sector is completely in a online mode, and I'm not sure whether how this is getting accepted in the industry or not, because there is a big question marks in terms of corporates how they adopt these candidates which are trained in online mode. So this we see a big future in terms of upgrading their skill set for a future ready jobs. This is where we foresee our future vision.
So,
Yeah.
Atik, I'm very impressed with what you're trying to do, your own journey. And, in a sense, you speak about a lot of things which are very practical, very grounded, and not high fly, and what is in fashion today. And I applaud you for that. Well done.
Thank you.
But before we close tonight, I just want to ask you a final question. You spoke about the need to have a framework for your life, a direction, a plan, a roadmap, and a vision. And
True.
it resonates very well with me because I too think that is very important for each individual to have. So, my final question to you is that as you look at your life over the next 5 to 10 years, what is your vision for your life, and where do you see uh, you finding fulfillment?
True. It's a very good question. I mean, me myself find I should be more than happy if for this personality matrix, when we see our candidates go and tells us that yeah, based on your course and your guidance, we succeeded and got selected. So we feel that we have done something to the community. In terms of this, our goal is to develop a community of students who should be a very good asset for the corporate, and they should feel passionately for their work. It's not like they should go and do the job which they do not want to do. So based on this philosophy, me and our team myself has a framework of down the line 5 years. We wanted to be financially develop a good module for this personality matrix and for the candidates as well. I think I answered, or you need more
But
details.
what about you personally? That is the company, right? What is your personal goal or vision in life?
Personally, I wanted to have around personality matrix has a proper way, and in terms of myself, I should be a good aggressive person, and develop a good team down the line for myself who should cater to the company. I mean, I
Well said, Artik. Artik, thank you very much for joining me tonight. I think you bring a certain practical wisdom and practical approach that is not fashionable, but students will definitely gain from that. I
yeah,
wish you all
thank
the
you.
best. Have a good evening and all the best for the future. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Thank you very much, Nalin. Thank you very much. Yeah, bye bye.